Hello, and thank you for joining us at Better Reading. We're at a bookshop actually in Surrey Hills called Oscar and Friends, and we're here talking to a wonderful author, Suzanne Leal. This is her new book, The Teacher's Secret. Welcome to Oscar and Friends Booksellers, and welcome to Better Reading, Suzanne. Okay, so firstly I'm going to ask you to tell us what is The Teacher's Secret about. It's fiction. Give us a pitch on the story, and then I'm going to ask you a few more questions on how it came about.
Wonderful. Brindle is a small coastal community, and Terry Pritchard is the Year 6 teacher at the local school there. He's a good bloke, well loved it seems. He loves his kids, he loves the school, but he really can't stand the new principal, Laurie Matthews, and she can't stand him either. And when she catches him embracing one of his students, and when later she catches him at the home of another student, the alarm bells start to ring for her. She decides to discover a bit more about Terry Pritchard, and what she finds is completely shocking.
Now, how much of this fiction book do you think is based on truth? I've read your biography. You're a lawyer. You're still a lawyer. So you're working and writing at the same time. But you've been a lawyer of criminal law, of refugee law and child abuse. So how much of that do you bring into your writing?
I think most writers bring a lot of their own lives into their writing, whether or not it's acknowledged and whether or not it's very clear. The setting itself, Brindle, whilst a fictional town, is very like the place where I live, which is Malabar, which is a small coastal community, very tight-knit. So to get the geographical setting and the idea of community, really I used a lot of what I knew from Malabar. As a lawyer, I've done a number of different parts of law. I've been really fascinated by criminal law and refugee law and now child protection law. I'm really interested in issues of child protection, particularly in the wake of the Royal Commission into institutional sexual abuse, because I think what's happened is that we've become very suspicious, and often rightfully so, about who our children are coming in touch with. But at the same time, we've got a lot of families where they're single parents and where the kids need a male mentor. So on the one side, we need male teachers, we need male role models. On the other side, we've become very suspicious about what sort of people are looking after our children. So it was really looking into that area that made me consider, well, what happens? What happens if there's a man who is old school, whose actions may be interpreted in completely different ways? Is he a good person or not? So I think from that perspective, the work was important. Also,
Well, I think our readers are going to have to read the book and to find out how it all comes together, and whether we think that people are guilty or not, in a sense. Now listen, a lot of people I know, a lot of our Better Reading community would love to take a hand to writing themselves. A lot of people work full-time, like you. How is it that you can make that happen? When do you write? How do you write? And how much time does it take, do you think, to write a fiction novel?
look, I always think it's really important to admit what's happening and what's not. I'm not working full-time, I'm working part-time, and so there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors in what I do. I do a lot of things, but I do a lot of things that are less than full-time, and my job's a great job as a tribunal member because I can manage both writing and law. When I used to be in the Refugee Review Tribunal, and refugee law comes into this book, which is not a hard or a depressing read, I don't think. I think it's actually more an upbeat book.
It is.
Despite what the issues that are raised. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about the kids, and kids are funny, and schools are funny. But that aside, what I used to do when I was in the Refugee Review Tribunal, I would schedule my hearings late. So I'd get rid of the kids to wherever they were going, childcare, school. I'd go to a cafe and I'd write for 2 hours. And then I'd go to work, and then I'd work later but have a babysitter in the evening, because for some time I was a single mum, so I was sort of juggling that. But for me, I think, and for aspiring writers out there, do it early, do it when you're fresh, give it your best, and give everything else your not so best. So for me, it's get out of the house, take a laptop, find a cafe which is quiet or somewhere else you can work, and just give it an hour, even give it half an hour, and use Scrivener. It's a software package which is fabulous for writers on the go.
I have heard that a lot of time. A lot of people have referred to that software. Is it so helpful? And will you be writing another book, do you think?
Yeah, look, I've just finished the first draft of a kids' time travel book, but my publisher's quite keen for me to do something similar to The Teacher's Secret. And I've got a lot of ideas, and I like to talk about how we're living now, what secrets are in with communities, how women make things work, how you juggle, how communities make things work, how you get over difficult issues. So I'm thinking maybe a cafe, something small, something community-based, but I'll keep you informed.
Please do, because I think The Teacher's Secret for me, in a sense, really got that sense of place. And it, even though it is fiction, and it read like fiction, of course, I could tell that it came from a place of knowledge and a place of truth. And I guess that's what has made it for me, and for a lot of our readers, a really, really compelling read. I understand it's selling really well, so congratulations, Suzanne. And thank you for joining us today at Oscar and Friends Booksellers in Surrey Hills. And thank you for our readers who are joining us today too. And please know that this video of Suzanne can be viewed live now, but also afterwards. Okay, well, thank you so much, Suzanne. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.